What nagging sense of longing in your own life did you observe that became the impetus for the story of Pools?
I think the nagging sense of longing that you're describing, I identify with that, but that's kind of, I think you don't know exactly what that nagging sense of longing is, and you don't really know where it comes from, but I think it is Kennedy longs for the approval of her father, which she can no longer ever get because he's not alive anymore, and so she feels this sense of like her whole life is changing, the things that she wants are changing. She has this intense cognitive dissonance where it's like her life is going one way, which is the way that her father knew about and approved of and was proud of her for when he was alive. And now she's changing so much, and she's like, I don't know if this is okay. I don't know if he would approve of this new path for me and the ways that I'm behaving and changing and the things I'm feeling. And so she's like longing for that conversation, that sense of a nod of approval from her father, support, and that's something I identify with. Obviously, I lost my father in the middle of college, and started to take a very different path. I mean, I think he always knew that I was, wanted to do something different, but a very different path than he would have ever known about, because I was only 20, and so it's like always wrestling with that idea of like, would he approve of this? Is this okay? It's like you can't talk to him, you can't like reason it out, and it's like the deepest foundation of your life, for a young man is most likely your father, and I think for me it definitely was, and so it's like you just feel like without that foundation you're just flailing, lost. Where am I going to land? And I think that's what I was experiencing, and that's what Kennedy's experiencing. A life path that felt like it actually resonated with me instead of just what I thought my father would approve of, And then, of course, coming to terms later with the fact that, he does, and he would, and he, loves me for exactly who I am, and I don't have to, like, fight for this thing that's in the past. I don't need to cling to this past version of myself instead of allowing myself to change and grow in new ways that he may not be able to see anymore. But that doesn't mean it's not okay.
You communicated that beautifully.
Yeah.
If each of the individual characters from Kennedy's school group represented the parts of her that she was going through in her transition, what specific elements of Reed, Blake, Shane, and Delaney were those contemplative parts as you were putting the story together?
I think the only one that I really see as like a kindred spirit to her and representing another side of her that she hasn't tapped into yet is the character of Michael, the air conditioning man. Because it's through the other ones are designed really to have their own stories that push her along. What I was really trying to say is that I think the real kindred spirit is Michael, and she doesn't know it, but they are, and you can tell from the beginning that they're both kind of struggling. Michael's getting fired. He does get fired at the beginning of the movie. Kennedy's about to get kicked out of school. They're both kind of ragamuffins that are just genuine, amazing people. But then you get to the end of the movie, and she's asking him what he does for a living, and he's like, "Well, I'm an air conditioning man." And she's like, "But what do you really want to do?" And he's like, "Why does everybody ask that? Like, this is what I really want to do, and that's okay. I like this, And it's through noticing that it's through realizing that she was actually being judgmental of him. It's through him that she looks at herself and says, "Oh my God, like he's able to like do this alternative path that maybe other people in my community don't think is like what you really want and what you really should do, and I'm not. I have this bias against it that like, oh no, it can't be that." Right? Actually, it can be. Actually, you can do whatever you want with your life, and like whatever makes you happy, and whatever, like Michael says, like feels right now. Like I want my life right now. I don't want to like work for something like way down in the road that I'm just suffering through for my whole life and wasting it away, And so she, I think she sees. He kind of holds up the mirror to her, and it breaks her heart because she realizes that she was, sort of in this place of judgment, not only of him but of herself. That like feeling like it's not okay for me to pursue what I really want. I have to do what I should do, quote unquote. And so then that's what kind of like breaks her is him.
There are many students like Kennedy who do what they think is good for a future job or somebody else rather than what makes them happy or passionate. What are you expressing about the abilities of 18 to 22-year-olds to find out what life means for them?
I think there's a lot of pressure on them, especially in like the university system, that like you have to decide at such a young age exactly what you want to do.
Right.
And for some people, some people just know, and that's totally great for a lot of people. But for a lot of people, they have no idea, and they feel like they have to like, I don't know, they feel like they can't change from who they were, and they can't like flip the script and just actually start doing what they want to do right now, in however small of a way, but it's just the idea that like, the future is always only ever unfolding right now. So like if you don't start doing it now, whatever that thing that's tugging on your heart is, you never will. It has to be now. There's not some like future thing that's just gonna like unfold for you on its own,
Odessa A'zion was a force of nature in the film. What did she understand about the character of Kennedy that made her performance so bold? And how did you tweak it in your collaboration? For example, at what point did her symbolic running become what you wanted to do as you were developing the story?
She was part of this project from the beginning.
Okay.
I wrote the role for her. So I like saw her on somebody's Instagram story way back when I was kind of formulating this and doing some rough writing. And I was like, she's perfect for it. And then I met with her, had a coffee, and that was kind of confirmed. Like we had a great vibe, and like she really took to the story and the vision of what I was trying to do with this film, and so I wrote it with her in mind from there on out. And then after that, we, of course on set, she still continued to bring so much to the role, but it was very synergistic from the beginning.
Good.
Well,
you could tell.
Yeah. There was actually this thing in the movie that was written into the script much bigger than it ended up playing out into the movie, where she would always yell the word, "Wait!" And I think it was this idea that like, and she does do it a couple times in the movie.
Right.
But it was this idea that like her life is running away from her, like her time is running away. There's this train moving and she's not getting on it.
Right.
And instead she's stuck in school doing this thing she doesn't want to do. Like there's this version of me that I'm not honoring, I'm not exploring, that I really feel, and instead I'm just continuing to put my head down and fucking shove this version of myself away. And like, maybe if I keep doing that, it'll all work out and that version of me will be gone. But like, what a tragedy, that I'm not gonna, willing to do what my heart really wants, or at least try.
Awesome. There was another film from 1968 called The Swimmer, in which the main character swam in the pools through his upper middle class neighborhood, each representing a part of his life. In the brief sequence in which the gang goes from pool to pool, were you expressing something about their journey?
Yeah, The Swimmer is interesting because I actually, when I started writing it, I had not heard of or seen The Swimmer. So when I started sending the script around, people started getting back to me like, "You seen The Swimmer?" And I was like, "Nope." Pool to pool to pool thing, like that used to, in the original edit, there was so much more of that, and eventually I realized like it just doesn't. It's not really what the story is. It's just the setting of the story.
Right.
And
but it was cool to see a few more.
Yeah. So the pools for Kennedy, she wants to be in these pools. It's like a spiritual symbol in general. Like she wants to be underwater and like have this ethereal somehow connection with her father, and has this sense that kind of comes from a dream that like, just maybe if I can get underwater, I can feel his presence or sense something will occur, some light will go off in my head or go on in my head that I'll know what to do, and I'll feel okay about myself and not feel so torn up of what to do with my life and who I am and everything. But But yeah, I mean, that's happening underneath the surface. You don't really realize it until the end. But on the surface, it's like there are a bunch of young kids like having a fucking blast, and she's running away from her problem. She's just looking for something to do to not think about what's tearing her up inside.
There you go. You and your cinematographer, Ben Hardwick, had some unique camera angles and shot that gave the film extra texture. What previous film templates inspired you to experiment with the visuals in the film?
My biggest inspiration stylistically is definitely Edgar Wright.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I see that.
I love Wes Anderson too. There was a review recently that critiqued me for trying to be like Wes Anderson. I'm not. I'm trying to be like Edgar Wright. So if I failed at that, that's fine. But I think Wes Anderson's amazing. But yeah. So, and then I don't know, like tonally, John Hughes, of course. You know, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Breakfast Club. My favorite movie is The Graduate, and The Graduate, like Mike Nichols, has unbelievable camera work too. It's like it's not as like whippy and fast as Edgar Wright, but if you really watch The Graduate, it's like the camera's always moving. Every shot is perfectly built, where it's like the camera is turning and the whole time things are being revealed, and then there are huge smash zooms. They're not as fast as mine because I think that the technology at the time probably just didn't allow them to be. But that's my favorite film.
Finally, since this is your debut feature film, what did you learn as a writer-director that you expect to take with you going forward? And what lessons of the shoot do you know you won't repeat?
Well, I was like producing the movie because I had to, but I was still spending most of my time producing until a week before the shoot. And I finally had to just like tell all my other producers, who were fantastic, but I had to just intentionally offload every producerial role, every call and email that I was getting. At a certain point, I had to just be like, stop, talk to somebody else. I don't care. They'll figure it out, you know. Like, and I had to really focus on like shot listing and like getting ready for the shoot creatively, which I was doing. But it's like by the time, because it was all such a rush, we also had to move the shoot a month up. Because Odessa had booked this other really big movie that we were like, oh shoot, like if we want to keep her, we have to move it up a month. So
how many days was the shoot?
20 technically. 20-day shoot. Pretty
average for us.
Yeah. And so more prep would have been great. Just more shot listing. But I'm really happy with how it came out. But like Ben and I only had half the shoot shot listed before the shoot. So there was just no downtime because it was like every weekend I'm shot listing the next shoot. Every morning I'm getting up at 4 a.m, you know, if the shoot's at, 7 or something, and trying to get the shot list in order and like plan things out. And we're staying late. Like it was mind-boggling. I mean, I know this is the case for a lot of indie movies, but it was mind-bogglingly work intensive. You know, it was probably for 2 months I was sleeping like 3 hours a night. Like it was crazy. What will I take with me going forward? I think just creating a culture of positivity, love, and excitement on set. Yeah. And, is the best way to go. And like not ever like getting mad at people, like forgiving people for their mistakes. Everyone's going to make a lot of mistakes. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. And there's absolutely no value in like trashing people or like getting upset. It's like, no, just fucking roll with it and stay positive. Say, if you're having fun, you're going to work a lot harder and you're going to do a lot better of a job. And I remember I had the chance to meet Vince Vaughn during the shoot because he's from Lake Forest, which is where we filmed. And I asked him if he had some advice for us, and he said, just stay relaxed. Like, everything goes better when you're relaxed. And sometimes that can be really hard on set. Of course, I had moments of immense anxiety. But I think that's so true. And just having fun with it, creating a communal and fun environment is really important.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2025.